Hi, my name's Richie. I'm one of the 8 TCMs here at Yorkshire Air Ambulance. The role of the TCM, which is their Technical Crew Member, consists of 2 parts. We assist the pilot with the aviation side, which includes the navigations, the radios and flight safety. And we also dual hat as an emergency care assistant, so that's to assist with the medical crew, which consists of a paramedic and a doctor, and we assist them with medical procedures and assessing patients, carrying equipment and loading patients on the aircraft. It's similar to the role that you may have seen with individuals on the road, so in the back of the ambulances, except for we have an uplift in major trauma and we are able to assist a doctor as well. So as part of the flight safety role, when we first arrive in the morning, the pilot will be responsible for checking the aircraft. So they are looking around to make sure that it's serviceable, it's not had any damage, and that we're able to get the aircraft online as quick as possible. As part of the TCM role then, we assist with the flight safety and we do a sample of the fuel in the morning. So we check to make sure that the fuel has no debris and that it's not contaminated with water. We're lucky that we are able to fuel up both at our base here in Nostell and up at RAF Topcliffe as well. So again, as part of the role in the morning, once the aircraft's checked and we're happy that it's serviceable and the fuel is ready to go, we then move into the ECA, so the emergency care assistant part of the role. This involves checking that the equipment is serviceable, that it's all in the right place, the drugs are stocked and that all equipment's charged and ready to go. So again, it's similar to the role on the ambulance, except for we have a more enhanced kit here at Yorkshire Air Ambulance, and that's just so we can deliver more advanced care to the patients. So one of the other roles that we have is communications, and on this aircraft we have a variety of communication equipment. This ranges from radios to speak to air traffic control and other aircraft, through to mountain rescue and to a Yorkshire Ambulance Service colleagues as well, which we use during the route to and from scene, as well as we're able then to speak back to the air desk for further updates while we're en route. These are controlled from a dial just to the right hand side of the TCM. We also assist the pilot there with setting frequencies for air traffic control. So as we discussed before, where we'll transit through controlled airspace, we may encounter multiple air traffic zones and we'll just need to set different frequencies as and when. Once the aircraft's up and online, once we receive a job, this can come through from the Yorkshire Ambulance Service, and we receive the job either as a grid reference, an address or a what 3 words, and using those pieces of information we can plot the route that we're going to go to and where the job location is. And we initially do this on an iPad. I have one, the pilot has one, and the paramedic in the rear also has an iPad. We use this primarily for situational awareness. We're then able to plot where we'd like to land, the nearest hospitals, and routes to and from the scene. Once we receive that information, then we'll head into the aircraft, and we have a range of screens that all do varying different functions. The screen down here is our primary navigation, so here we're able to put into this device into the grid reference. This will give us a heading where we need to fly towards, as well as a rough estimated time of arrival that we can send to both the air desk and to any resource that's on the ground. As a TCM, my role is to help program these navigational devices. So once the grid reference is in this position and we have a heading, we cross-check this with the pilot and we'll make sure that we are happy where we're going. We have a little route brief where we'll talk through sort of terrain that we might encounter, obstacles, any airspace that we're likely to enter. As an air ambulance, we are given priority and we do try to fly direct line. This often means that we'll encounter restricted or controlled airspace. And while we do have permission to enter this airspace, it is important that we brief this prior to flight. We'll also talk through any NOTAMs, which is just notices for any aircraft of any sort of hazards or dangers that are in the area. So often this could be model aircraft flying or equestrian events, and we'll just look, if possible, that we'll avoid those where we can. So in terms of the setup then, will often look like as it is now in flight, except from my screen we'd have a different map, and that just gives us different traffic information. And again, it's important that we have this traffic information because, as I said, although we have priority over the airspace, sometimes it's harder for aircraft to navigate out of our way. So again, keeping situational awareness both for the pilot, for myself, and again, any passengers in the back. We'll always be looking out and we'll be looking for these aircraft. They will appear on these screens as well as gliders, and we'll take any action necessary to try and cause the minimum disruption possible. Once we approach the target area then, we'll look to identify a landing site, and one of the features that we can use on this aircraft is on this middle screen. We're able to put onto the cameras. So as you can see now, this is just a view from the rear of the aircraft as we're coming in to land into a site. We can use this camera to identify any hazards, to make sure that the aircraft's landing on the mark that we're going into, to look for any downwash, and just to make sure that everyone on board is happy that where we're going to land is safe. So one of the capabilities we have here at Yorkshire Air Ambulance is the ability to operate at night. And while the nights are getting longer, it may not seem as relevant. Once we get into the winter months, we start to get dark around 3-4 o'clock. This still gives us the ability to operate and to provide that care around Yorkshire. We do this primarily using night vision goggles and the searchlight on the front of the aircraft. So the night vision goggles are fitted to both the helmets of myself and to the pilot, and this gives us the ability to enhance our view and to be able to look for any obstacles and to identify landing points, both in lower light and in dark conditions. So once the aircraft's all checked, what we need to do is get the aircraft out of the hangar. So as you can see behind me, Rory and Owen are currently moving the aircraft out, and we use a heli lift. This is just a motorised lifting device that just helps us get the aircraft out, and we bring it out onto the helipad. So we'll always try and face it into wind so that when we lift the aircraft, we're able to dispatch as quick as possible. Following up now, as you'll see, Alex is just on his way out. So he's one of the other TCMs, and he's bringing out what's known as the rinse rig. So each morning we will rinse the engines out. This just helps to keep them serviceable, keeps us online and able to respond to life-saving jobs quicker. So once the aircraft's out, we've got another further check that we'll do. It's called the rinse. So what we'll do is we'll flush some waters through the engines. This just helps maintain them, keep them working. We also go through what's known as the power check, so that we make sure the aircraft's serviceable and that it's ready to deploy straight away.